Hi YouTubers, I'm glad you're all here. Thank you very much for joining me. Well, it started out fairly clear after an earthquake swarm there at Yellowstone today. And you can see it's darkening up. Let me make this larger. Alright, there you go. And let me bring this over so you can see it over here by the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome, which is off on the right. Yeah, getting darker and darker again, which means the water's heating up. There was several earthquakes that USGS is reporting. You would think, well, it's relieving the pressure. Well, it's building up again. Yeah, time is ticking there at Yellowstone. I found some really good articles, some YouTube videos that you might want to look at. One about the 12,000 year cycle that the Earth goes through and how we're being impacted by that 12,000 year cycle with anomalies in our weather. There's going to be an increase in earthquakes, an increase in volcanic activity, increase in tornadoes and hurricanes. Yeah, let me show you real quick. Now, Douglas Vogt is an author of several books. You can see here, Multi-Dimensional Reality, Reality Revealed, God's Judgment Day, and Creation of something. I can't see, it's too small. But he has a YouTube channel, and he put up a video about geological evidence for the 12,000 year cycle of climate disaster. It also says here that Douglas Vogt is a science writer, researcher, and professional member of the Geological Society of America. He offers 60 major scientific discoveries or reinterpretations and 60 major biblical discoveries. So many people say that, I believe that the earth is millions of years old, and they go, that's not biblical. But the Bible does talk about dinosaurs, and there's been fossils found, and some of you say, oh, you're not a Christian if you don't believe that the earth is only so many years old. Well, that will get you blocked on my channel to accuse me of not being a Christian and having a different interpretation of what the Bible says. But anyways, it goes into how he's been studying the geomagnetic reversal and ice ages since 1971. He is the first person to discover why the ice age happened immediately after the reversal. That was the reversal of the magnetic field, which evidently, I'll show you another paper, scientific paper, about how it may be happening a lot faster than what they want you to know. He discovered the exact number of years between polar reversals, which is 12,068 years. This was published yesterday. It says the Earth's core has stopped and may be reversing direction, study says, and it was posted yesterday. Those of you that have been with me for a long time will recall how I talked about the magnetic pole reversal. And during that time, there was great earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and how it affected our climate. And have realized that since probably 2014, there's been a large uptick in earthquakes. Here looking at Yellowstone, I want to talk about the melted water. And it's still really cold. It's been about, 1 degree below zero. And you can see all the ice and snow that's melted because of the heat that's coming up. And we got another pool of water over here. Here, they just moved the camera to Beehive. And you can see all the missing snow. And it shouldn't be missing for how cold it is. It's currently 7 degrees. The high for today is 14, tomorrow 16. And at night for tonight it's going to be -4. And I've talked about how that does not take into account the wind chill. And let's check out the winds. Okay, 3 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour, etc. So according to this recent research. It says here the Earth's inner core has recently stopped spinning and may now be reversing the direction of its rotation, according to a surprising new study that probed the deepest reaches of our planet using seismic waves from earthquakes. Another recent paper that I shared with you, maybe a year, 2 years ago, talked about how the Earth's core is heating up, and they know that because of the different minerals that are separating and coming up. One of those is nickel. Here it says, located some 3,000 feet below our feet, the core experiences intense heat, on par with the surface of the sun. Can you imagine the core of the Earth being as hot as the sun? Because it is so remote and difficult to study, the inner core remains one of the least understood environments on our planet, though it's clear that it plays a role in many processes that make our world habitable for life, such as generating the Earth's protective magnetic field, which blocks harmful radiation from reaching the surface. There was a documentary that I seen. I'll have to try and find it. It talked about how early man hid into caves and underground other dwellings to hide from the solar radiation that was impacting the Earth. So I'm going to have to look that up again and share it with you, probably in a later video. It says here, Yin Yang and Xian Dong Song, a pair of researchers at Peking University Sinoprobe Lab at School of Earth and Space Science, have captured surprising observations that indicate the inner core has nearly ceased in rotation in recent decade and may be experiencing a turning back in the multiple Chaldean oscillation, with another turning point in the early 70s, according to the study published on Monday in Nature Geoscience. As you know, many papers have to be reviewed before they're published, and they received this in December of 2021, and it was accepted in December of 2022 and then published yesterday. We talk about earthquakes that have occurred in Alaska and the South Sandwich Islands, which those of you that follow my earthquakes report will know that, those earthquakes have increased in size also. And I've talked about the South Atlantic anomaly. Although the South Atlantic anomaly arises from process inside the Earth, it has effects that reach far below the Earth's surface. The region can be hazardous for low Earth orbit satellites that travel through it. That's because the magnetic field has weakened there, and that's been tracked all the way back to the time of Christopher Columbus. It has an area now that has grown. In fact, there's another area of weakening off the east coast of the United States, and I believe I did a video about that. The South Atlantic anomaly, an unusually weak spot in the Earth's magnetic field, is growing and splitting into two lobes. For Earthlings, the SAA creates no noticeable harm on the ground, but in space, the anomaly is like a pothole for satellites and spacecraft. They don't want to fly planes through that area because of the increase in radiation. And the space shuttle doesn't go through there, or it used to, the International Space Shuttle, I should say. And satellites, it affects their electronics when they go through that area, so they try and avoid that area. So you just might want to watch this video here from Creative Society. They also had another video that I found, which was from the same group in a response to Ben Davison's Suspicious Observer. And it talks about the earthquakes that they no longer report and under-report because this way they feel that the governments think that people can sleep better at night. This group also did a video about Yellowstone activation, what we should prepare for. It's going to be devastating for the people on the earth. It's in French, but they do have translations at the bottom that you can activate. So USGS is reporting 12, let me bring it out a little bit farther. What was 12 a minute ago? 12 earthquakes within the last 24 hours. The most recent, yeah, they're claiming was a 0.6, but it was actually a magnitude 2.0. The time was 12:54 Universal Time. That would have been at 5:54 a.m. There at Yellowstone, or 6:54 Central Daylight Time. So once again, I downloaded 4 different monitors. We got Maple Creek, we got Soda Butte, we got the borehole, a very deep well over 600 feet under the ground, and again, Western Boundary, which they turned off today. So going to the monitor there for the borehole 950, this actually comes in as a magnitude 2.02. Yeah, that they claim was a 0.6. And there's the seismic signature. Let me make that bigger for you. Yeah, as I stated before, the ground is getting brittler and brittler. Much like breaking glass eventually. That rhyolite cap, which is, holding the magma down, so now it's spreading out horizontally. It will go. And you can see we got volcanic tremors here at the beginning, and then the fault zone cracking and moving. About 15 minutes before that, there was what they say is a magnitude 0.3. This is 3.4 miles below sea level. This is where the mush, I guess you would call it, for the upper magma chamber is located, where there's 15 to 20% melt. So going back to the borehole 950, there's the seismic signature. We'll look at the spectrogram. That was actually a magnitude 1.44. Yeah, and like I said, in the other report, you can go listen to it. She actually does say how all these multiple agencies that track the earthquakes around the world are all, except for 1 or maybe 2, I think she says, are downgrading these earthquakes because they do not want people to panic. The next one, marked in red, looks like it would be this one. There is other smaller ones on here. Let's see, 641. I don't know if that's the one I reported yesterday or not. They're saying it's a magnitude 1.3. No, I didn't report that one because this is today. It was actually at 12:41 Central Daylight Time this morning, or 11:41 Montana or Wyoming time. So there's its seismic signature from the borehole, and actually that was the spectrogram. This is the seismic signature, and let's see how big it really was. That comes in as a magnitude 2.12. You can see here it's actually larger than this other one, the first one, I believe, that I reported right there. But it comes in as a magnitude 2.12. Yeah, big difference. All right, do we have anything else marked in red here? We got a little one there. At 3:06 Universal Time. They are not reporting that. Here you can see we got 6:35, 5:17, 3:39, and then 1:29. So that would have been at 8:07 p.m. last night. They're in Wyoming, and let's see how big it is. That one comes in as a magnitude, let me bring it down, 1.41. Not being reported. You can see at the bottom, 1.41. Let me bring it back up and go to the seismic signature. Interesting, it's marked in red here on the borehole 950. And also on the borehole, or not the borehole, but the monitor for Maple Creek. Right there. It's got a little bit longer P wave. Okay, let's close this out. Now this is Maple Creek, and you can see we got a lot of them marked in red. A lot. Let me bring this down and bring it over. Let's see, did I do this one? I don't think so. Okay, 1300. That one also they have not reported. There's the spectrogram. And that one comes in as a 1.74. They're also saying that too. Yeah, we're going to see hundreds and hundreds of earthquakes, if not thousands, across the world if you want to watch that one video. Let's see, what do we got here? I want to take a look at different activity. This here is what it was showing when I pulled the files a little while ago. And let's just extract that. Yeah, a little mixture of harmonic and tectonic. Yeah, see the long. Let me make that part bigger. Yeah, volcanic tremors. Let's go to that one. And we'll extract that. See, long and some sharp. There's some more earthquakes right there. Let's see what was going on there. See, volcanic tremors. Those are most definitely volcanic tremors. Yep. What's the hertz on that? Okay. And we got another one there. See, more volcanic tremors. All right. All right, going to the western boundary, they stopped its transmission of data for some reason about 6 hours ago. And this is what it was showing when it shut down. You know, line of melt, one there, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines of melt. There is one way up over here marked in red. What time would have that been? 1:29. I think I reported that yesterday. But what I was looking for to see if we got more screaming going on when they shut it down. I don't see any. And I've talked about, yeah, I believe this area's got dike intrusion going on. Where we got a crack in the ground. Where the magma's trying to come up. If it completes this journey, ascending, only time will tell. Yeah, look at that. Blobs of magma there. Yeah, we'll just pull it over a little bit so we can take a peek at what it was doing. Yeah, I guess they didn't like what it was showing. Yeah. We'll go back here. Yeah. And we'll go up here where it's really thick. Okay. Oh, and I finally got it marked on my Google Earth where the western boundary monitor is at. I could have swore I had it before, but it came up missing. So anyways, here we have the west entrance. And off over here is the western boundary. And then let me bring this over because, let's see, I believe it's over here where the borehole 950. That's 950. And this is an area for the geyser basin, the back geyser basin, where we got Congress Pool and yeah, this is one of the oldest thermal areas for Yellowstone. Let me see, do I have notes written on that? Yep. I'll read it to you because you probably can't read it. North Geyser Basin is Yellowstone's oldest thermal area, with evidence of thermal features going back 115,000 years. Yeah, I just had a another power surge for some reason. That was with that beeping sound that you heard. It also is the hottest area, registering 459 degrees Fahrenheit, 1,000 feet or so beneath the surface. Yeah, you wonder why we see. I wish I could make that bigger for you. While we see the black steam coming up. Let's see. Radar and GPS data from satellites were used to track the deformation of the Norris Geyser Basin, and just shy of 9 miles beneath the surface between 1996 and 2001. The basin just outside to the northwest rim of the supervolcano, youngest caldera, sits on a line of faults and vents known as the Norris Mammoth Corridor. And that's from National Geographic. This is from 2020. A chunk of Yellowstone, the size of Chicago, has been pulsing. Why? The injection of magma under the Norris Geyser Basin may be why the region is 5 inches higher today than it was 20 years ago. And I'll give you a link to this article also. It says, today the magma-derived fluids could sit close to the surface, just a mile or so below the ground. And this article also talks about the danger of hydrothermal explosions. And I went into that in one of my other videos. And you can see here, now this is, the hotel maybe? This is the parking lot. And I've talked about how when they built these buildings in the parking lot and the hotels there for Old Faithful, yeah, they built it right on top of the geothermal area. Yeah, I got a good view of how much snow is melted. Nothing to see. Yeah, it's the sun. It's the heat. No, it's not. Not when it's so darn cold today. And has not warmed up. And you can see back over here how, yeah. And they got, let me pull it over. This is, Old Faithful right there. But look at the melt. Yeah. Anyways, that's all I have for you right now. The clock is ticking. So what are your thoughts? Please put those comments down below. Thank you very much for your support. Many of you have supported me through PayPal or Patreon, or even by sharing my videos and by thumbs upping my videos. When you thumbs up my videos, that helps with the ranking on YouTube. I guess Google, today, they laid off something like 10,000 people. Yeah, the economy has gotten really bad. Oh, and another thing too, I heard that Russia had a vessel off the east coast of the United States with one of those, or with several hypersonic missiles off the east coast. And if they shot one of those missiles off, it could create a tidal wave of 3 miles high. I've been trying to find more information about that. Anyways, I hope everyone is prepared for what may come, because this is definitely going to be a year of disasters, I think. And as you know from past experiences, you cannot depend on the government or anybody else to come to your rescue. You have to prepare for yourself, for your own safety of your family and loved ones and children and grandchildren, because no one is going to come to help you for a very long time. Again, please put your comments down below. Thank you for taking your time to watch my videos. I really appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. Bye.